The massive shadow fell across Earth's moon first. Scientists at the Luna Observatory watched in stunned silence as their instruments detected something impossible. Ships. Hundreds of them, each one larger than any structure humanity had ever built. Dr. Sarah Martinez pressed her face against the observation window, her breath fogging the glass. "How big are they?" she whispered to her colleague. "The largest one is 12 kilometers long," Dr. Chen replied, his voice shaking. "It's bigger than Manhattan." Within hours, the alien fleet had positioned itself throughout the solar system. Ships hung motionless above Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Smaller vessels patrolled the asteroid belt. Earth's military satellites went dark one by one as the aliens demonstrated their control over human technology. President Williams sat in the emergency bunker beneath Washington, surrounded by advisors and military officials. The room buzzed with nervous energy. Everyone knew this moment would change everything. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission," announced General Hayes. "It's coming from the largest ship." The main screen flickered to life. The figure that appeared was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and 4 arms. Its eyes were large and black, completely without emotion. When it spoke, its voice came through perfectly translated into English. "I am Ambassador Zixthera of the Hegemony," the alien said. "I speak for the Galactic Council. We have watched your species with growing concern." President Williams stepped forward. "Ambassador, welcome to Earth. We hope this can be the beginning of peaceful relations between our peoples." The alien's expression did not change. "Peace requires order. Order requires authority. Your species has developed too quickly. You are dangerous." "Dangerous? How are we dangerous?" the president asked. "In 50 years, you have gone from chemical rockets to fusion drives. Your population grows without control. Your industries consume resources at an alarming rate. You fight constant wars among yourselves. Most troubling, you have begun to explore beyond your system." The ambassador paused, its black eyes studying the humans on the screen. "The Galactic Council has maintained peace for over 10,000 Earth years. We have done this by ensuring that young species develop responsibly. You will submit to our authority." "What does that mean?" General Hayes demanded. "Your military forces will be disbanded. Your space exploration will be limited to your inner system. Your population growth will be controlled. Your industrial capacity will be reduced to sustainable levels. Council overseers will monitor your compliance." The room erupted in angry voices. President Williams raised his hand for silence. "And if we refuse?" "Refusal is not possible," Zixthera replied calmly. "No species has ever refused Council authority. You have 72 Earth hours to prepare for transition. Failure to comply will result in pacification." "Pacification?" Williams asked. "Your industrial centers will be destroyed. Your major population areas will be occupied. Your leaders will be replaced with council-approved governors. Your species will survive, but your civilization will not." The transmission ended. The room fell silent except for the hum of ventilation systems. "Sir," General Hayes said quietly, "our entire fleet combined couldn't take on one of their smallest ships." President Williams stared at the blank screen. Around the world, other leaders were receiving similar ultimatums. The Chinese premier, the Russian president, the leaders of every major nation on Earth, all being told the same thing: submit or be destroyed. "Options?" Williams asked. "We could try negotiating," suggested Secretary of State Johnson. "Maybe we can work out some compromise." "They don't seem interested in negotiation," Admiral Chen pointed out. "This was a demand, not an offer." "What about our allies?" Williams asked. "Can we reach out to other species?" "Sir," Dr. Foster from the Science Division spoke up. "According to their transmission, every species in the galaxy is already under Council control. We're alone." Outside, the alien ships hung in space like dark monuments to human insignificance. News channels around the world showed the same images: massive vessels blocking out stars, smaller craft moving through Earth's atmosphere without permission. The message was clear: resistance was futile. But in military bases around the world, something else was happening. Generals and admirals were opening sealed files that had been classified for decades: Project Looking Glass, Project Nemesis, Project Sword of Damocles. Contingency plans that had been developed in secret, just in case humanity ever faced an existential threat from space. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the command center of the Denver Mountain Complex. Around her, displays showed the positions of every alien ship in the solar system. Her staff worked quietly at their stations, implementing orders that had been prepared years ago but never expected to be used. Status report: She ordered. All mining operations have been converted to the alternate configuration, reported Colonel Stevens. The asteroid belt installations are online. Luna Base has activated Protocol 7. And the civilian population? Government broadcasts are telling people to remain calm and await further instructions. Most people are staying home. Admiral Chen nodded. On the surface, it looked like humanity was preparing to surrender. News reports showed diplomats discussing the alien demands. Scientists appeared on television explaining why resistance was impossible. But deep underground, in facilities that didn't officially exist, other preparations were being made. Weapons that had been disguised as mining equipment were being armed. Spacecraft that appeared to be cargo haulers were being loaded with military payloads. Communications networks that seemed to be standard commercial systems were actually military command channels. Humanity had learned something from its own history. When facing a superior enemy, sometimes the best strategy was to appear weak while preparing for war. On the alien command ship, Ambassador Zixithera reviewed reports from throughout the solar system. Everything was proceeding exactly as expected. The humans were displaying the same pattern as every other species the Council had encountered. Shock, disbelief, desperate attempts at negotiation, and finally acceptance of the inevitable. Status of human compliance? Asked Sub-Commander Veltar. Progressing normally, Zixithera replied. Their leaders are meeting to discuss surrender terms. Their military forces remain inactive. All indicators suggest peaceful transition. Their technology is more advanced than most species we've encountered, Veltar observed. Advanced for a primitive species, Zixithera corrected. Their most powerful weapons could barely damage our shield generators. Their fastest ships would take decades to reach our territory. They are no threat to the Council. And if they refuse, they will not refuse. No species has ever chosen extinction over submission. These humans may be aggressive among themselves, but they are not suicidal. As the hours passed, Earth's governments continued their public discussions about the alien ultimatum. Religious leaders called for prayer. Scientists explained the impossibility of fighting such advanced technology. Military experts on news programs agreed that resistance would be futile. But in the shadows, Admiral Chen received a message that had been waiting for this moment for 20 years. It came from the highest levels of government, from agencies that most people didn't know existed. Operation Surprise Party is authorized, the message read. All contingencies are now active. Remember, they expect us to surrender. Let's give them something they're not expecting. She looked around the command center at her staff. These men and women had spent years preparing for this moment, hoping it would never come but ready if it did. Ladies and gentlemen, she announced, the President has made his decision. We're going to send the Council our response. The countdown timer on the main screen showed 18 hours remaining until the deadline, but humanity's real response was already being prepared. The message went out on every frequency humanity could access. It reached every alien ship in the solar system simultaneously. President Williams sat in the broadcast chair, looking directly into the camera with steady eyes. To the Galactic Council and Ambassador Zixithera, he began, his voice calm and clear. We have considered your ultimatum carefully. Our answer is simple. No. The transmission continued for exactly 30 seconds. Williams explained that humanity would not surrender its freedom, would not accept alien oversight, and would not submit to Council authority under any circumstances. We are willing to discuss peaceful coexistence, he concluded, but we will not accept domination. Earth stands free. On the Council command ship, Zixithera stared at the transmission in disbelief. In 10,000 years of Council expansion, no species had ever simply refused. There had been attempts at negotiation, pleas for more time, even desperate attacks by the most primitive species. But never a flat refusal. Ambassador, Sub-Commander Veltar said carefully, perhaps they did not understand the consequences of refusal. Play it again, Zixithera ordered. They watched the human president deliver his message a second time. His words were clear. His meaning was unmistakable. Sir, the communications officer reported, we're receiving similar messages from human governments across their planet. They all say the same thing. Zixithera felt something it had never experienced before, confusion. According to every Council study of primitive species, when faced with overwhelming force, They always chose survival over pride. Perhaps their military leaders have not explained the situation properly, Veltar suggested. Should we demonstrate our capabilities? Yes, Zixthera decided. Destroy one of their orbital installations, something significant enough to make them understand our power. The Council fleet began moving into attack formation. Targeting systems locked onto a large human space station orbiting Earth. The weapons officer waited for the command to fire. But before the order could be given, something unexpected happened. Alarms began sounding throughout the alien fleet. Combat alerts flashed on every screen. Tactical displays showed dozens of new contacts appearing throughout the solar system. Report, Zixthera demanded. Sir, we're detecting multiple weapon signatures. The humans have activated hidden defensive positions. On the main display, the tactical situation became clear. What the Council had thought were simple mining operations in the asteroid belt were actually heavily armed military installations. Cargo ships that had been moving peacefully through the system suddenly revealed missile batteries and energy weapons. Most shocking of all, the human moon itself began to transform. What had appeared to be research facilities and communication arrays were actually the components of the largest weapon the Council had ever seen. Admiral Chen watched the alien fleet's reaction from her command center deep inside Luna Base. Around her, displays showed the successful activation of humanity's secret defenses. All stations report ready, Colonel Stevens announced. Operation Surprise Party is fully deployed. Status of the alien fleet? They're forming defensive formations. Looks like they're trying to figure out what just happened. Admiral Chen smiled grimly. For 20 years, humanity had been preparing for this moment. Every asteroid mining operation had been designed to double as a military base. Every commercial spacecraft had been built with hidden weapon systems. Even the tourist facilities on the moon had been constructed around military installations. Open a channel to all human forces, she ordered. Throughout the solar system, the message went out to every hidden base, every disguised weapon platform, every seemingly innocent spacecraft that was actually a warship in disguise. This is Admiral Chen. The Council thought we were a primitive species that would roll over when threatened. Let's show them what humans do when someone tries to take our freedom. The first shot came from Ceres base, hidden inside what the aliens thought was a simple mining station. A focused particle beam lanced out across space, striking the nearest Council ship. The alien vessel's shields flared and held, but the message was clear. Humanity was not defenseless. The Council ship returned fire immediately, but its weapons struck empty space. The human installation had already moved using thruster systems disguised as industrial equipment. Sir, the Council weapons officer reported. The target has shifted position. It appears to be mobile. Zixthera stared at the tactical display in growing alarm. The humans had not just hidden weapons. They had made their entire industrial infrastructure mobile and armed. More shots came from the asteroid belt. A dozen different installations opened fire simultaneously, their beams converging on a single Council vessel. This time, the combined firepower overwhelmed the alien shields. The ship's hull cracked, atmosphere venting into space. Impossible, Veltar whispered. Their weapons should not be powerful enough to penetrate our defenses, but they were. Each human installation might be weaker than a Council ship, but they were not fighting alone. Coordinated fire from multiple positions created overlapping fields of destruction that the aliens had never encountered. On Luna Base, Admiral Chen watched the battle unfold with satisfaction. The alien ships were powerful, but they were designed to fight other large ships in traditional space battles. They were not prepared for hundreds of small, mobile installations working together. Deploy the drone swarms, she ordered. Across the system, seemingly harmless communication satellites suddenly split open. Each one released dozens of small combat drones, too small and too numerous for the alien weapons to track effectively. The drones swarmed around the Council ships like angry insects, their small weapons seeking gaps in the alien armor. Individually, they were almost harmless. Together, they were devastating. Captain Rodriguez piloted his cargo hauler toward the nearest Council ship. To outside observers, he appeared to be a civilian trying to flee the battle. The alien vessel ignored him, focusing on the larger threats from the asteroid bases. That was their mistake. Rodriguez's ship was packed with mining explosives, enough to level a small mountain. As he approached the alien vessel, he transmitted a final message. For Earth, for freedom. For everyone who dies free rather than live as slaves. The explosion lit up space like a small sun. When the glare faded, both ships were gone. Across the battle, other human crews were making the same choice. Cargo ships, mining vessels, even passenger liners that had been secretly converted to military use. All of them flying directly into Council ships, turning themselves into massive bombs. Zixthera watched in horror as another Council vessel disappeared in a ball of fire. These humans were not just fighting back. They were throwing away their lives without hesitation. Sir, Veltar reported, his voice shaking, we've lost 7 ships. The humans are using suicide attacks. That's impossible. No intelligent species chooses death over surrender. The humans do, sir. On the tactical display, more human ships were accelerating toward Council vessels. The aliens tried to shoot them down, but the humans had made their ships fast and maneuverable. Some were destroyed, but others got through. Sir, the communications officer announced, the humans are transmitting on all frequencies. Admiral Chen's voice came through the speakers, calm and determined. Council fleet, this is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. You came here thinking we would surrender without a fight. You were wrong. We'd rather die free than live as your subjects. But you don't have to die today. Withdraw your forces, leave our system, and never return. This is your only warning. Zixthera stared at the communication panel. The humans had just destroyed 7 Council ships and were offering the aliens a chance to retreat. It was unthinkable. Ambassador, Veltar said quietly, perhaps we should consider their offer. Never. The Council does not retreat from primitive species. But even as Zixthera spoke, reports were coming in from throughout the system. Human forces were appearing everywhere. Ships that had seemed like simple cargo vessels were revealing military-grade weapons. Stations that had appeared to be scientific research facilities were launching fighter craft. Most disturbing of all, the humans were coordinating their attacks with precision that suggested extensive planning. This was not a desperate last stand. This was a carefully prepared military operation. Sir, the tactical officer reported, the humans have us outnumbered 3-1. Their forces are spread throughout the system in positions we cannot easily attack. Zixthera felt another new emotion. Fear. For the first time in its long life, it was facing an enemy that might actually win. The battle continued for hours. Council ships with superior technology and armor faced waves of human attackers who refused to surrender. Every time an alien vessel destroyed a human ship, 2 more would appear to take its place. As the casualty reports mounted, Zixthera began to understand something that would change the Council's view of humanity forever. These humans were not just willing to die for their freedom. They had spent decades preparing to do so. Open a channel to the Council High Command, Zixthera ordered. Tell them we need reinforcements. These humans are not what we expected. The first engagement between humanity and the Galactic Council was not going according to plan. The Council's 3rd Fleet arrived in the Soli system 3 weeks after the first battle. 50 massive warships emerged from hyperspace, each one a kilometer long and bristling with weapons that could crack planets. Fleet Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Collective commanded the reinforcements personally. Ambassador Zixthera, Kethvar transmitted to the battered remains of the First Fleet. Your reports are difficult to believe. How has one primitive species resisted the Council for 3 weeks? Zixthera's image appeared on the command screen, looking haggard and stressed. Admiral, these humans are unlike any species we have encountered. They do not fight rationally. Explain. They use their civilian population as weapons. They convert industrial equipment into military assets. They sacrifice valuable resources without strategic purpose. Most disturbing, they seem to prefer death over submission. Admiral Kethvar studied the tactical displays showing human positions throughout the solar system. The defensive network was indeed impressive, but it was still just a primitive species with crude technology. Have you attempted a direct assault on their homeworld? Yes, Admiral, twice. Both attempts failed. Failed? How does a primitive species defend against Council assault forces? Zixthera's expression darkened. They do not defend in the traditional sense. When we attacked their moon base, they detonated their own installation rather than let us capture it. The explosion destroyed our assault ships. Suicide tactics? Worse. They had prepared every installation for self-destruction. When we attack, they deny us any strategic value by destroying everything themselves. Admiral Kethvar was beginning to understand why the First Fleet had struggled. These humans were not fighting to win territory or capture resources. They were fighting to deny the Council any advantage. And their space forces? They have no traditional fleet structure. Every ship operates independently. They use cargo vessels as bombers, mining equipment as weapons, and communication satellites as missile platforms. We cannot predict their tactics because they have no standard doctrine. On Earth, Admiral Chen monitored the arrival of alien reinforcements from her new command center. Luna Base had been sacrificed to stop the Council's first major assault, taking 12 alien ships with it in a nuclear explosion visible from Earth. "Status report," she ordered. "The new alien fleet is larger than the first," Colonel Stevens reported. 50 capital ships plus support vessels. And our forces? We've lost 60% of our original installations, but the mobile units are still operational. The asteroid belt network is mostly intact. Admiral Chen nodded. The past 3 weeks had been costly, but they had proven something important. Humans could fight the Council and survive. Now they had to prove they could win. "Initiate Operation Chaos Theory," she ordered. Throughout the solar system, human forces began implementing tactics that violated every principle of civilized warfare. Mining ships accelerated toward alien vessels not to ram them, but to spray them with clouds of metallic dust that interfered with their sensors. Cargo haulers released swarms of maintenance robots reprogrammed to attach to alien hulls and systematically dismantle critical systems. Most confusing to the aliens, human ships began behaving in completely unpredictable ways. Some would charge directly at Council vessels only to veer away at the last second. Others would retreat from weak alien patrols while attacking superior forces. "What are they doing?" Admiral Kethvar demanded as he watched human ships execute maneuvers that made no tactical sense. "Unknown, sir," his tactical officer replied. "Their behavior patterns do not match any known military doctrine." What the aliens did not understand was that humans had abandoned traditional military doctrine entirely. Instead of trying to match Council technology, they had chosen to make the battle so chaotic and unpredictable that superior technology became meaningless. Captain Lisa Park commanded a converted passenger liner that had been transformed into a mobile weapon platform. Her mission was simple: cause as much confusion as possible. "Target the alien formation center ship," she ordered her crew. "Ma'am, that ship is 3 times our size and has military-grade armor," her weapons officer protested. "I know. Fire everything we have at it, then immediately retreat." The converted liner opened fire with mining lasers and improvised missile systems. The weapons barely scratched the alien ship's shields, but that was not the point. The aliens responded by moving their entire formation to intercept the human vessel. Captain Park immediately changed course, leading the alien ships toward a seemingly empty region of space. When the Council vessels arrived, they found themselves surrounded by a cloud of human maintenance drones that began attaching to their hulls. The drones were not weapons. They were reprogramming tools designed to maintain human equipment, but they had been modified to interface with alien systems and install human software patches. "Sir," the alien tactical officer reported, "our navigation systems are malfunctioning. We're receiving conflicting data from our sensors." "How is that possible?" "Unknown. The human devices appear to be altering our computer systems." What the humans had discovered was that Council technology, for all its advancement, relied on standardized systems that had not been updated in centuries. The aliens had achieved perfection in their designs and saw no need for change. Humans, however, were experts at making broken systems work. They had spent centuries jury-rigging solutions to impossible problems. Now they were applying that expertise to alien technology. While the Council Third Fleet struggled with compromised computer systems, other human forces were implementing even more unconventional tactics. Commander Rodriguez, brother of the cargo pilot who had died in the first battle, led a squadron of modified mining ships toward the alien supply convoy. His vessels looked like standard industrial equipment, so the aliens ignored them until it was too late. "Remember," Rodriguez transmitted to his crews, "we're not trying to destroy their ships. We're trying to capture them." The mining ships opened their cargo bays and released clouds of industrial foam, the same material used to seal hull breaches in space construction. The foam expanded rapidly, enveloping the alien supply ships and hardening into a crystalline shell. The alien vessels found themselves trapped inside cocoons of human building material. Their weapons could eventually break free, but by then human boarding parties had attached to their hulls. "Sir," an alien captain reported to Admiral Kethvar, "the humans are attempting to board our supply ships. Repel boarders. Use standard anti-personnel protocols." But the humans did not behave like standard boarders. Instead of trying to fight their way through the ship, they began systematically taking apart the alien vessel from the outside. Using tools designed for space construction, they removed hull plates, disconnected power systems, and extracted anything that looked valuable. "They're stealing our ship," the alien captain reported in bewilderment. Piece by piece, this was exactly what the humans intended. They could not match Council production capacity, so they had decided to steal alien technology and convert it to human use. Dr. Sarah Martinez, who had first spotted the alien fleet weeks ago, now worked in a converted space station that served as humanity's primary research facility. Around her, teams of engineers examined captured alien components and figured out how to integrate them with human systems. "Status report," Admiral Chen asked during her daily briefing. "We've successfully reverse-engineered their power systems," Dr. Martinez reported. "Our modified versions are actually more efficient than the originals." "How is that possible?" "The aliens designed for perfection and reliability. We designed for performance and adaptability. Our modifications sacrifice some reliability for increased power output." "And their weapons?" "More complex, but we're making progress. The interesting thing is that their technology is incredibly advanced but also incredibly standardized. Once we understand one system, we can predict how their other systems work." This was becoming the pattern of the war. The Council had superior individual ships and weapons, but humans were learning and adapting faster than the aliens could respond. Admiral Kethvar studied the latest battle reports with growing frustration. His fleet had superior firepower, better armor, and more advanced technology. But somehow the humans were winning. "Their casualties are 3 times ours," his intelligence officer reported. "But they continue fighting as if losses were meaningless. And our casualties? Increasing steadily. The humans are becoming more effective as the conflict continues." What the aliens could not understand was that humans viewed this war differently than any species they had encountered. To the Council, war was a rational calculation of costs and benefits. Superior forces defeated inferior ones. Losses were minimized. Victory was achieved through overwhelming advantage. To humans, this was not just war. It was survival. Every human death was mourned, but it was also a lesson that made the survivors more dangerous. Every lost ship was studied to understand what went wrong and how to do better next time. Most importantly, humans had something the Council species had never developed: the willingness to risk everything for freedom. As the weeks passed, reports reached the Council High Command that disturbed the leadership deeply. The humans were not just resisting, they were winning. Council ships were being captured, technology was being stolen, and entire alien formations were being outmaneuvered by converted civilian vessels. "How is this possible?" the Council chairman demanded. "We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. No species has ever successfully resisted our authority. The humans appear to be fundamentally different," the intelligence briefing explained. "They do not follow rational decision-making patterns. They prioritize independence over survival, adaptation over perfection, and innovation over stability." "Are you saying they are insane?" "No, Chairman. We are saying they are dangerous." On Earth, President Williams received a message that would have seemed impossible just months ago. The first human ships had successfully left the solar system, carrying captured Council technology and human crews determined to take the fight to the enemy. "Admiral Chen," he said during their secure communication, "the Council made one critical error in their calculations." "What's that, sir?" "They thought we would fight to defend our territory. They never considered that we might fight to take theirs." The war was about to expand beyond the Sol system. The first reports came from the Kepler 442 system, 3 months after the war began. A Council supply depot had gone silent. When investigation ships arrived, they found the installation completely dismantled. Every useful component had been removed with surgical precision. "Impossible," declared Council Intelligence Director Kalvex as he reviewed the security footage. No known species could have reached this system so quickly. The recordings showed human ships unlike anything in the Council databases. They moved with technology that appeared to be hybrid designs. combining human engineering with captured Council systems. Most disturbing, they had clearly been modified in ways that improved upon the original alien technology. "Sir," his aide reported nervously, "we're receiving similar reports from 17 other systems." Kalvex felt his 3 hearts skip beats in unison. 17? The humans appear to have spread throughout this sector. They're not just raiding our installations. They're studying them, learning from them, and then disappearing before our response forces arrive. At the Council High Command on Zentara Prime, emergency sessions had been running continuously for weeks. The leadership that had maintained galactic peace for millennia found themselves facing something they had never encountered, a war they might lose. "Status report," demanded Chairman Vortal, his normally perfect composure showing cracks of strain. "The human expansion is accelerating," reported Military Coordinator Hesekal. "Their ships are appearing in systems we believe secure. They're using technology we don't understand." "What do you mean?" "They've taken our hyperdrive systems and modified them. Their ships can now travel faster than ours." "That's impossible. Our hyperdrive technology is perfect. It cannot be improved." "The humans disagree, sir. They've added something they call overclock protocols that push the drives beyond safe parameters. It reduces the lifespan of the equipment, but increases speed by 40%. Chairman Vortal stared at the tactical display showing human raids across Council space. Red markers indicated successful attacks. There were hundreds of them. And our response? "We've deployed 6 fleets to counter the human expansion. All have reported the same problem. The humans refuse to engage in direct combat. They strike quickly and retreat before we can respond. Then we will fortify our installations. We tried that, sir. The humans simply ignore fortified positions and attack undefended targets instead. They seem to understand our strategic thinking better than we understand theirs." This was exactly what Admiral Chen had planned. Instead of trying to match Council strength, human forces were exploiting Council predictability. While the aliens concentrated their defenses around important installations, humans attacked everything else. Dr. Martinez, now aboard the converted space station that served as humanity's mobile research headquarters, monitored their expanding network of captured alien technology. "Status of the reverse engineering project?" Admiral Chen asked during their daily briefing. "We've successfully integrated Council hyperdrive systems into our ships," Dr. Martinez reported. "But more importantly, we've found ways to improve them." "How?" "The Council builds for perfection and longevity. Every component is designed to last for centuries without maintenance. We've modified their systems for maximum performance even if it means replacing components more frequently. And the results? Our ships are now faster, more maneuverable and more powerful than comparable Council vessels. We're also using materials and techniques they've never encountered." What Dr. Martinez did not mention was the growing concern among human scientists. As they studied Council technology, they were discovering something troubling. The aliens had not developed any genuinely new technology in over 5,000 years. "Admiral," Dr. Martinez continued, "we need to discuss something important about Council capabilities." "Go ahead." "Their technology is incredibly advanced, but it's also stagnant. They've achieved near perfection in their designs and stopped innovating. Everything we've captured shows the same design philosophy: reliable, efficient, but unchanging. What does that mean for us? It means they can't adapt to our modifications. When we change our technology, they don't know how to counter it because they've lost the ability to innovate." This revelation was spreading through human command structure and changing their entire approach to the war. The Council was not just militarily powerful, they were technologically superior. But they had sacrificed adaptability for perfection. Humans had made the opposite choice. Human technology was often crude, unreliable, and inefficient, but it was also constantly changing, improving, and adapting. In the Rigel system, Captain Elena Vasquez commanded a human raiding fleet that was putting this philosophy to the test. Her ships were attacking a Council research facility that contained some of the most advanced technology in the galaxy. "Remember," she transmitted to her squadron, "we're not here to destroy anything. We want to capture everything intact." The Council defenders responded exactly as expected. Their ships moved into standard defensive formations. Their weapons targeted the largest human ships, and their commanders issued demands for surrender. Captain Vasquez ignored the demands and ordered her fleet to implement Doctrine chaos. Instead of attacking the defended facility directly, human ships began releasing clouds of metallic chaff that interfered with Council sensors. Other vessels deployed swarms of modified mining drones that attached to the alien ships and began systematically shutting down their systems. "Sir," the Council facility commander reported to his superiors, "the human ships are not engaging us directly. They're trying to disable us. Standard anti-boarding protocols. Sir, these are not boarders. They're maintenance robots." The human drones had been programmed with complete technical manuals for Council systems, captured during previous raids. Instead of trying to destroy the alien ships, they were performing unauthorized maintenance that gradually shut down critical systems. "Our engines are offline," the facility commander reported. "Weapon systems are not responding. Life support is stable, but we cannot maneuver. How is that possible? The robots appear to be following our own maintenance procedures, but they're doing them in the wrong order. They're essentially giving our ships a complete overhaul while we're trying to fight." Within hours, the Council defenders found themselves completely immobilized while remaining unharmed. The human fleet then deployed actual boarding parties who politely requested access to the research facility. "We're not here to harm anyone," Captain Vasquez explained to the captured Council personnel. "We just want to examine your research data." What the humans discovered in the facility changed their understanding of the war. The Council had not just stopped innovating. They had actively suppressed innovation among their member species. Dr. James Park, Elena's brother who had joined the mobile research fleet, studied the captured files with growing amazement. "Elena, you need to see this," he called to his sister. "What did you find?" Records of Council expansion over the past 10,000 years. Every species they've conquered showed initial technological advancement, then complete stagnation after joining the Council. "You mean they deliberately prevent technological development?" "Worse. They seem to consider innovation itself to be dangerous. Any species that develops new technology too quickly is classified as a disruption risk and subjected to immediate intervention. And that's what they tried to do to us, but we're the first species that fought back successfully. As news of these discoveries spread through human space, the strategic implications became clear. The Council was not just an empire. It was a stagnation field that prevented technological and social development throughout the galaxy. More importantly, humanity was not just fighting for their own freedom. They were fighting for the freedom of every species in the galaxy. Admiral Chen received reports of this discovery while coordinating attacks on 12 different Council systems simultaneously. "This changes everything," she told President Williams during their secure communication. "How so?" "We're not just fighting to defend Earth anymore. We're fighting to liberate the galaxy. That's a much larger war than we planned for." "Yes, sir. But we may not have a choice. The Council will never stop trying to control us. Our only chance of permanent victory is to destroy their ability to suppress other species." President Williams considered this. When the war began, Earth's goal had been simple survival. Now they were contemplating the liberation of hundreds of alien civilizations. "What do you need?" he asked. "Everything we can build, steal, or modify," Admiral Chen replied. "And we need to start making contact with other species." "Other species?" "Sir, according to the captured files, not every species in Council space is happy with their situation. Some of them might be willing to help us if they knew they had a choice." This marked a fundamental shift in human strategy. Instead of simply raiding Council installations, they would begin offering liberation to Council member species. The response was immediate and terrifying to the Council leadership. On Zentara Prime, Chairman Vortal reviewed intelligence reports that seemed to describe the end of everything he had worked to preserve. 18 species have declared independence and requested human protection. Intelligence Director Colvex reported. "The humans are providing them with modified weapons and defensive technology. And our response fleets? They're being destroyed faster than we can build them. The humans have shared their technological improvements with their new allies. We're now facing an enemy that grows stronger with every engagement." "How many human ships do our estimates suggest they have?" "Unknown, sir. They appear to be building new vessels using captured Council technology, but their shipyards are mobile and hidden. Every time we locate one, it disappears before we can attack." Chairman Vortal understood that they were facing something unprecedented, a species that could not be conquered because they refused to stay conquered. Worse, they were spreading their rebellion to other species. Options? He asked his military advisors. We could negotiate, suggested diplomatic coordinator Yelhan. The council does not negotiate with rebels. Then we could withdraw from human space and contain them. Contain them where? They're already operating in 17 sectors. The truth was becoming clear to the council leadership, though none wanted to admit it. They were losing a war to a species they had believed was primitive. Sir, reported Communications Director Terval, we're receiving a transmission from the human leader. Put it through. President Williams appeared on the main screen. Looking calm and confident, Chairman Vortal, he began, I'm calling to offer you the same choice you offered us. Surrender, or face the consequences of continued resistance. The chamber fell silent. A human leader was demanding the surrender of the Galactic Council. Your terms? Chairman Vortal asked, his voice barely steady. Complete dissolution of council authority over member species, recognition of the right of all species to govern themselves, immediate cessation of technological suppression protocols, and reparations for 10,000 years of enforced stagnation. Impossible. Chairman, you're losing this war. Your fleets are being destroyed. Your technology is being captured and improved, and your member species are defecting to us. You can surrender now with dignity, or we can continue this war until your civilization collapses. We have ruled the galaxy for 10 millennia. We will not surrender to a primitive species. President Williams smiled. Chairman, we stopped being primitive the day we decided to fight you. We'll give you 72 hours to consider our offer. After that, we'll make the decision for you. The transmission ended, leaving the council leadership staring at a blank screen. For the first time in galactic history, the council was being given an ultimatum by their intended victims. The quantum tunnel network had taken 6 months to construct, using captured council technology modified with human engineering. Admiral Chen's forces had built a transportation system that could move fleets across the galaxy in hours instead of weeks. Status report. Admiral Chen requested from her command ship as the massive human fleet prepared for the final assault. All tunnel endpoints are operational, reported Captain Rodriguez. We have direct access to the Zentara system. Allied forces? 43 species have committed fleets to the operation. The Zephyrians alone are providing 60 ships. Former council members are fighting alongside us? Yes, ma'am. Turns out a lot of species have been waiting 10,000 years for someone to challenge council authority. Admiral Chen studied the tactical display, showing the largest military operation in galactic history. Over 2,000 ships from dozens of species, all united under human leadership, preparing to assault the Council's capital world. It was not the fleet size that made this moment historic. It was what the fleet represented. The first time in millennia that galactic civilization had chosen change over stability. On Zentara Prime, Chairman Vortal watched the approaching human fleet with emotions he had never experienced. Fear, desperation, and something else. A grudging respect for an enemy that had achieved the impossible. Final defensive positions? He asked his military coordinators. All remaining council fleets are concentrated around Zentara, reported military coordinator Hesekal. 800 ships with full defensive support from planetary installations. And the humans? Over 2,000 ships including allied forces from former council members. How did this happen? Chairman Vortal asked, though he already knew the answer. Sir, our intelligence analysis suggests that humans represent a fundamentally different type of species. Where we value stability and order, they value adaptation and freedom. Where we seek perfection, they embrace change. And that makes them superior? In warfare, yes, sir. They learn faster than we can adapt. What neither the chairman nor his advisors fully understood was that humans had done more than learn alien technology. They had learned alien psychology. Months of studying captured council personnel had revealed something crucial. The aliens had become psychologically dependent on their own superiority. Dr. Martinez, now serving as chief xenopsychologist for the Human Alliance, had identified the council's critical weakness. They've been in control for so long that they can't imagine losing, she explained to Admiral Chen. Their entire civilization is built on the assumption of inevitable victory. And when that assumption is challenged, they have no psychological defense mechanisms. They've never developed the ability to cope with defeat because they've never experienced it. This insight had shaped humanity's final strategy. Instead of simply defeating the Council militarily, they would demonstrate that Council authority had been an illusion all along. The human fleet emerged from quantum tunnels at the edge of the Zentara system, but instead of attacking immediately, they began broadcasting on all frequencies. "People of the galaxy," President Williams announced, "today we end 10,000 years of enforced stagnation. Today we prove that no species has the right to control another. Today we choose freedom." The broadcast reached every world in Council space simultaneously. On planets throughout the galaxy, populations that had never known anything but Council rule heard a human leader promising liberation. "Citizens of Council worlds," the broadcast continued, "your governments have told you that rebellion is impossible, that the Council is eternal, that change leads to chaos. We are here to prove them wrong." Chairman Vortel ordered his communications officers to jam the human transmissions, but it was too late. The message was spreading through the galaxy faster than it could be stopped. More importantly, the human fleet was not behaving like an invasion force. Instead of attacking Zentara's defenses, they were systematically dismantling the communication networks that allowed the Council to control their territory. "Sir," reported Communications Director Terval, "we're losing contact with outlying systems. The humans are cutting our command links. Then we'll fight them here." "Sir, they're not engaging our fleets. They're ignoring us and attacking our infrastructure." Admiral Chen watched the Council. Fleet formed defensive formations around their capital world while human forces methodically destroyed every communication relay, supply depot, and administrative center in the system. "They still don't understand," she told her staff. "They think this is about defeating their military." "What is it about?" asked Captain Rodriguez. "It's about proving that they're not in control anymore. Once their subjects realize the Council can't protect them or communicate with them, the rebellion will spread faster than they can stop it." This was exactly what happened. As news of the human assault reached Council worlds, local populations began declaring independence. Without reliable communication with central authority, local Council governors found themselves isolated and powerless. The psychological effect was devastating. Species that had submitted to Council rule for millennia suddenly realized that their masters were not invincible. On Zentara Prime, Chairman Vortal received reports that his empire was dissolving in real time. "Status of member worlds?" he asked. 43 systems have declared independence in the past hour," Intelligence Director Qualvex reported. "Local governors are requesting immediate evacuation." "And our response fleets?"